Have you ever woken up exactly at 3 a.m. feeling something strange in the air, as if the world were in absolute silence, yet something invisible was watching you? Maybe you tried to ignore it, turned over, and went back to sleep. But deep down, you sensed that it wasn't just a coincidence. What if I told you that this moment holds one of the greatest spiritual keys to existence? That at 3 a.m., time, as you know it, simply ceases to exist. What you're about to hear could completely change the way you understand reality, time, and even your purpose here. But first, write this sentence in the comments: I am ready to access what lies beyond time. This powerful affirmation will help you connect with the field of creative consciousness and attract positive energy to your journey. Let's unravel this mystery together. Jacobo Grinberg was a Mexican neuroscientist who dedicated his life to studying consciousness, perception, and the structure of reality. Unlike most traditional scientists, he dared to go beyond the limits of matter to investigate the mysteries of the mind, spirit, and creation. His profound theory, the neuronal field, proposes that the reality we know is just a projection of our perceptual structure, a conscious hologram shaped by the human mind. This means that time, space, and everything that seems solid are merely constructs within an invisible field of information. Grinberg believed that the Creator does not reside within the three dimensions of time we experience: past, present, and future. For universal consciousness, everything has already happened. Everything simply is. And that's exactly why, at 3 a.m., when the mind enters an altered state and the physical world's frequency becomes more subtle, we can access fragments of that creative mind. Yet this same hour, feared by many spiritual traditions, also opens doors to dense frequencies. It's an energetic crossroads, and knowing what to do at that moment can change everything. We live believing that time is a straight line, where the past is behind us, the present is happening now, and the future is yet to come. This perception feels so natural that we rarely question it. But what you might not know is that this idea of linear time is merely an illusion of three-dimensional consciousness, a programming that limits your ability to access higher realities. According to Jacobo Grinberg, the time as we know it is a creation of the human mind. There is no time outside of perception. What we call past and future are simply variations in frequency within the neuronal field. For the Creator or source consciousness, time isn't divided. It's simultaneous. What we call tomorrow has already happened. What we judge as impossible already exists in some dimension. Imagine that divine consciousness is positioned outside the timeline, as if looking at a book with all its pages open. Each page is a moment in your life. For you, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. For the Creator, everything is already written, everything has already been read. Here's a fundamental point. If everything is already created, why can't we access these higher realities now? The answer lies in your frequency of consciousness. When time is seen as a linear prison, it keeps us trapped in past suffering and future fears. But when you start to view time as a fluid field, a sea of simultaneous possibilities, you gain power over it. This is the same principle behind lucid dreams, visions, déjà vu, and deep spiritual experiences. In those moments, your mind enters altered states and transcends the linear perception of time. You touch, even if only for a moment, the Creator's consciousness, where everything already is. Yet there is one moment when this happens with even greater intensity, around 3 a.m. At that hour, your brain starts producing brain waves that favor expanded states of consciousness, like theta waves. The environment around you is energetically emptier, quieter. It's as if the matrix slows down and the doors between worlds slowly open. Time, in that instant, dissolves. That is why so many people report suddenly waking at 3 a.m. with strange sensations, profound thoughts, or even inexplicable feelings of unease. Often, without knowing it, They are accessing that gap in time. Understanding that time isn't linear is the first step to realizing that your reality isn't bound by what happened or what you fear will happen. It is shaped by your consciousness, and that means you can access a new version of your life right now. The hour of 3 a.m. carries a symbolic and energetic weight that crosses religions, spiritual traditions, and mystical accounts around the world. For many, it is considered the hour of evil, the dead hour, or the hour of the demon. For others, it is a moment of profound spiritual silence, a sort of intersection between dimensions. But why does this specific time evoke so much mystery and reverence? From a spiritual perspective, the visible and the invisible worlds coexist, separated only by layers of perception. At 3 a.m., these layers become more subtle. The darkness of the physical world meets energetic quietude, creating an atmosphere ripe for manifestations, intuitions, and interferences, both elevated and dense. At that moment, Earth's energetic frequency reaches a point of vulnerability. Most people are asleep, their minds unconscious, their vibrational fields less active. It's as if the collective vibrational network goes into a resting mode, and with it, the doors to other realms open more easily. This energetic silence can be accessed by entities, obsessive thoughts, and also messages from a higher spiritual field. For instance, many Christian traditions claim that 3 a.m. is the inverted hour of Christ's crucifixion, which would have occurred at 3 p.m. Hence, this hour became a symbol of the unsacred, used in low-frequency rituals. In many African and shamanic cultures, it is also the time when spirits walk among the living, prompting shamans to rise for protection or spiritual connection. But not every awakening at 3 a.m. is a sign of danger. The difference lies in the vibrational state of your mind and heart. If you're in a phase of fear, anguish, and negative thoughts, this hour might amplify those feelings, as if your inner shadows were given a voice. However, if you are seeking clarity, alignment, and purpose, 3 a.m. can become a true portal to higher consciousness. The neuronal field described by Jacobo Grinberg is highly sensitive during this period. At this time of the night, the human brain naturally tends to enter states of theta and delta waves, the same that occur during deep meditation and mystical practices. This means that even unintentionally, you might access hidden parts of your mind, messages from the collective unconscious, and even fragments of your own higher consciousness. That is why many spiritual masters wake precisely at this hour to meditate, pray, or receive guidance. They understand that there is something sacred in this space-time. The dead hour isn't merely an emptiness. It's an interval during which the flow of time slows, and you can connect with something beyond logic. So what determines whether this moment will be sacred or disturbing? Your vibration, your thoughts, your intention. At 3 a.m., you are vulnerable, but also open, and everything you feel and think at that moment gains an immense power to echo within your vibrational field. When you wake at 3 a.m., for no apparent reason, something profound is happening. Your body may be at rest, but your soul is alert. This awakening isn't a biological glitch, nor is it always caused by insomnia or anxiety. Often, it is a call, a silent invitation from higher consciousness to pay attention. But attention to what? Waking at 3 a.m., especially repeatedly, is a spiritual sign. It's as if your soul is being pulled out of the automatic flow of life, given a chance to see something that can only be perceived in the silence of the early morning. At that moment, your rational mind is quieter, your ego asleep, and your connection to the spiritual field becomes more accessible. This hour marks the transition point between the physical world and the subtle realms. In that intermediate state, the unconscious begins to emerge. Often, waking at 3 a.m. brings repetitive thoughts, unresolved emotions, or feelings of existential emptiness. But that doesn't mean there is anything wrong with you. It simply indicates that something inside you is longing to be seen. According to Jacobo Grinberg's studies, what we perceive as reality is only a fraction of the totality. The mind filters what it sees, feels, and understands. When you awaken at this hour, it's as if that filter temporarily lessens, and you begin to feel more. Forgotten thoughts return. Repressed emotions surface, and most importantly, messages from your spiritual field try to manifest. Some people report feeling presences, others experience deep insights. Some even cry without knowing why. And there are those who only feel an inexplicable restlessness. All of this is part of the same phenomenon, your soul trying to communicate with you. And what you do in that moment determines the path that energy will take. If you grab your phone, get distracted, or panic, you lose the opportunity. But if you remain silent, breathe deeply, and ask internally, what do I need to see right now? You access something rare. In that instant, your vibrational field is at a point of great plasticity. Whatever you think, feel, or say gains an intense programming force. In other words, this is the ideal moment to reconnect, pray, meditate, visualize, or even release emotions. Spiritually, waking at 3 a.m. is like crossing a bridge. You can either plunge into the chaos of the mind or step over into higher consciousness. Often, this awakening is an invitation to transform your life. It's a gentle push from the universe saying, you are ready to see beyond. So next time you wake up at 3 a.m., don't be frightened. Sit up in bed, close your eyes, and ask, what does my soul want to tell me? The answer might not come in words, but as a sensation, intuition, or clarity, and that can change everything. Have you noticed how thoughts during the early hours seem more intense, deeper, and sometimes darker? It's not a coincidence. At 3 a.m., when the outside world quiets down, your inner world speaks louder, and that voice might be your higher consciousness, or the unconscious programming that still holds you captive. At that hour, your mind operates at a different frequency. The brain reduces its beta activity, associated with logic and wakefulness, and shifts into theta and delta waves, states linked to intuition, creativity, and direct contact with the unconscious. This means that the thoughts arising in that state have a stronger power to shape your reality. What you think at 3 a.m. isn't just a thought, it's a frequency. And that frequency is like a seed planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious. It will sprout and eventually become your reality. That's why it's so dangerous to let fear, guilt, failure, or scarcity take root at that moment. They aren't just passing through your mind. They are molding your vibrational field. There's an even deeper point. Jacobo Grinberg explained that the human neuronal field interacts with the unified field of reality as a transmitter and receiver of frequencies. In other words, what you think, feel, and vibrate connects with a greater field and activates energetic portals compatible with your frequency. That's why many traditions call this hour the hour of portals, because they open, but you only access what your mind is ready to receive. If you're in a state of fear, the portals that open correspond to that frequency. That's when nightmares, spiritual attacks, heavy insomnia, and obsessive thoughts appear. But if you are aligned with the vibration of trust, surrender, and divine presence, what opens are channels of guidance, protection, and reconnection. Your mind is the filter, and your heart is the key. In the eyes of the universe, there is neither punishment nor reward. There is resonance. Everything you attract is in tune with what you emit. That's why waking at 3 a.m. can be either a curse or a miracle. It all depends on the frequency of your mind at that exact moment. The secret is to learn how to use this moment to your advantage. Instead of surrendering to the automatic flow of thoughts, breathe, feel, take control of your energetic field. Choose an elevated thought and immerse yourself in it as if it were a silent prayer. It could be something simple like, I trust in divine intelligence. I am safe. I am guided. What is mine is on its way. These phrases aren't just affirmations, they are frequencies that reposition you within the subtle realms. And by doing so, you not only close dense portals, you open the doors to miracles. Waking at 3 in the morning might seem like a simple sleep disturbance, but for those who awaken spiritually, this moment carries a much greater significance. Rather than seeing it as an inconvenience, you can understand this awakening as a silent call from universal consciousness, a summons from the Creator to align your vibration with what is already ready for you in the invisible field. In this altered state of consciousness, your mind moves away from linear logic and dives deep into the unconscious, where spiritual laws operate more freely. The brain is no longer caught up in the fast pace of daytime activities. It enters theta waves, the same frequency pattern seen in deep meditation, prayer, or hypnosis. It is in this space that you can reprogram your existence. When that moment arrives, embrace it with reverence. Lie back down calmly, close your eyes, and turn your attention inward. Inhale slowly through your nose, feel the air filling your body, and exhale through your mouth, releasing all resistance. Repeat this breathing 3 times, as if you were cleansing the channels of connection with the divine. Then, place one hand over the center of your chest, activating the point of connection with your essence. Don't think, just feel. In that sacred silence, you can converse with the source. Not with rehearsed words, but with surrender. Internally affirm, as if remembering something your soul already knew. Creator, I know time has already fulfilled its course. I trust in the path that has been laid out for me. I align myself now with what is already destined for me. These words aren't just beautiful phrases, they are vibrational commands that echo through the field of creation. After that, visualize. Imagine walking along a golden, clear, and serene path. Each step represents a version of you that has already achieved what you seek today. See yourself living the life you desire, not as a dream, but as your present reality. Feel the lightness, the confidence, and the certainty that for the Creator, time is no obstacle. Everything has already been manifested. You just need to resonate with what is rightfully yours. Finally, surrender. Do not bear the weight of trying to control the future or change the past. Simply say silently, "Thy will be done, not mine, but may my will be purified to coincide with yours." Then gently lie back down, allowing this new vibration to lull you back to sleep. This simple yet profound practice transforms what could be a moment of fear or discomfort into a ritual of reconnection with your divine origin. And the more you repeat it, the more your energetic field aligns with the Creator. The 3 o'clock hour ceases to be a time of dread and becomes your secret moment with the infinite, a point outside of time where everything can be remade, including you. Now that you understand the true power behind 3 in the morning, no longer see this moment as a coincidence or discomfort. Instead, view it as a divine opportunity, a silent portal offering you the chance to rewrite your vibration, your mind, and consequently, your reality. Use this knowledge consciously. Next time you awaken at this hour, breathe calmly, feel your presence, and reconnect with the Creator. Practice the technique you've learned here. Allow yourself to feel time suspended, life paused, and eternity touching you from within. This moment does not belong to the world, it belongs to your soul. And the more you repeat this ritual with intention, the more you'll notice that your life begins to change, first subtly, then profoundly, until one day you look back and realize that you have become a completely different person, someone at peace with time, aligned with purpose, and guided by something greater. If this content touched you, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share this video with someone who also wakes up at 3 a.m. without knowing why. And in the comments write, "I trust in the divine intelligence that awakens me to the truth." This will be your first seed of reconnection.